What's up everybody, once again my name is Matt and welcome back to Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles X. In the last episode, we went on our first training mission as a Blade member and planted a probe, but we got a little more than we bargained for because a tyrant was blocking our way, so we had to take care of him. Since we did complete our mission though, the next step is to report back to Secretary Nagi and tell him all about what happened. I'm sure he's dying to know.
Commander Vandam.
Well now, look what the cat dragged in.
Sorry we missed you last time. We could have come to meet you at HQ, you know.
Indeed. I suggested as much. Twice.
And we know how much I enjoy being told what to do. Anyway, I hear you tangled with a tyrant, way out of your league, on a training mission, no less. That was reckless, and goddamn magnificent.
Well, he seems pretty impressed with what we were able to accomplish. No problem, man. Don't worry, it was nothing at all.
So, Commander, to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit here today?
Well, I can't just ask Nagi to do everything for me. I'd be out of a job.
Hey, I delivered you the new recruit, didn't I?
Yeah, you won the bet. Don't worry about it, all right? I'll settle up with you later. You know I'm good for it.
The bet?
I'm sure I'm needed elsewhere. If you'll all excuse me, Commander.
Well, that wasn't obvious at all.
Huh. Look at you two. I swear, you're like two children excited about a new toy.
Look who's talking. I don't recall ever seeing you file a request to personally train a rescue before.
Is that so odd?
It is before we'd even asked him to become a blade, little Miss Stick in the Rear.
Usually I ask when I don't get your slang expressions, but something tells me to just let that one go.
Enough about that. Where are your manners, anyway? I still haven't been introduced to our new recruit here.
Commander Vandam is Blade's top officer.
In a past life, I was chief engineer on the White Whale. Same idea, basically. Someone has a problem, I fix it. You follow? Huh. Not much for conversation, are you?
So you still haven't told us why you're here. From the look of things, I'm guessing this isn't a social call.
You don't think?
No. So let's cut the crap and get down to business.
Ha! Sounds like you're learning my expressions just fine, Elma. Anyway, first we need Chatty Cathy here to choose a division and pull an assignment.
Alright, so we could get started, but you know what, I kinda want more info on the division, so let's learn more about them. Now, this is a pretty lengthy cutscene, so strap in everybody, we're gonna be here for a while.
Pretty much everyone in New LA works for Blade, in one of several different fields. Helping to explore Mira, or to maintain order in the city, or, well, you remember Nagi's speech, right? There are 8 different fields in all, and each one has its own branch within Blade. Officially, they're called divisions. Naturally, you'll want to choose one that best suits your personality and your talents.
Let's start with the Pathfinders. Pathfinder's #1 responsibility is planting data probes, like you did on your training mission. It may not be the sexiest job, but important? You bet your ass it's important. We've only been on Mira 2 months. We don't know jack about this place. The more probes we install, the faster we can get our bearings here and give ourselves a fighting chance.
We've already detailed how important it is we expand the FrontierNav network ASAP. So, for the time being, I'll just remind you of the highlights. It helps us keep Blade safe. It helps us keep the city safe. And most important of all, it's the key to locating the missing parts of the Lifehold and recovering the rest of the human race.
Okay, next up, Interceptors. You met Akeloff and Evans, right? Irina and Gwyn? This is their division. Interceptors have one main duty. Protect New LA and everyone in it from the wildlife here on Mira. Right now, this is probably our busiest division. Interceptors ride shotgun for the research eggheads, they escort VIPs around, and they help any other idiots who get caught out there with their pants down.
Next are the Harriers. Remember Doug Barrett, the Skell pilot conducting the test flight with Lynn? He's part of the Harriers. If you think of the Interceptors as defense, Harriers would be New LA's offense. They specialize in preemptive strikes on clear and obvious threats. But only on clear and obvious threats. They're not meant to go out and just blast any indigene that moves.
And you got your Reclaimers. These guys are in charge of finding the other pieces of the White Whale. Among other things, that is. Including anything of ours left behind after a battle. Skell debris, weapons, personal effects. It can get a bit morbid, frankly, but it's gotta be done. Until we're up and running here on Mira, and have this place completely figured out. Everything we brought from Earth needs to be treated like it's irreplaceable. Also, the search for the Lifehold. That's mostly on the Reclaimers.
Next, Curators. Curators are the first to scout ahead to unexplored territory, bringing back whatever samples they can get their hands on. Fruits, bugs, sticks and stones, you name it. It's not all picking berries, though. Being a curator also means being the first to encounter unknown indigens.
Next? Alright, prospectors. Prospectors do, well, prospecting. They poke around, looking for minerals, resources, and whatnot. Things we need for everyday life here. We packed all the essentials we could on the White Whale, but that won't last forever. We need to be able to replenish our water and fuel if we want to survive. And sooner or later, we're gonna have to figure out how to replace things from scratch. From the socket on a Skells knee joint, right down to the frying pan in Lynn's kitchen. Without these guys busting their butts, we'd have no future to speak of.
Next up, Outfitters. All of our ground gear and Skell weaponry is developed in conjunction with private arms manufacturers, or AMs. Outfitters are Blade's way of supporting these AMs. They'll seek out anything that might inspire new weapon ideas, and even assist with testing new prototypes.
Finally, the Mediators. These are the folks who keep everything hunky-dory with John and Joan Q public. Any problems a civvy has, they come to Mediators. Fight with your neighbor? Mediators. Lost cat? Mediators. It's not a division for everyone. You need to be a jack of all trades, and a people person. Someone with my charming personality? Probably not the best mediator. But if you got what it takes, it's a clutch role, keeping things cool on the home front.
All right, so I think that's all 8 divisions. Any idea which one you'd like to join? Don't fret about it too much. Whichever you choose, you still have a lot of freedom in how you operate. Mediators can still get out there and mix it up, hunt indigens, whatever. And if a Harrier wants to take a break and settle an argument, that's their prerogative too. To be honest, even though it's sort of frowned upon, you can actually change your division whenever you like. So there's really no reason to stress about this. All right, you ready to choose?
Well, I think I'm ready, so let's decide.
Yeah, and? We're on pins and needles here.
Hey man, come on, don't rush me, I'm ready. So yeah, that was sort of like the basic explanation. Here's the more in-depth explanation. Each division has their own, like, support effects. So for instance, Pathfinders, you have HP support, so you will get higher HP. Interceptors, Ranged Master, your ranged attacks will do more damage. Harriers, Melee Master, melee attacks will do more damage. Reclaimers, Drop Sensor, you'll have, like, a higher rate of drops. Curators, you'll have a higher chance of critical hitting. Prospectors, more defense. Outfitters, R&D support. And then last, you have the Mediators, which is TP support. Not really sure what exactly that is. Now, I've been told that Reclaimers is kind of broken with its higher drop rate. So you know what? We're going to go with that because, I mean, why the heck not? Plus, we can change later on anyways if we need to. So there we go. Welcome to the Reclaimers, guys.
Then it's settled?
Yes, it's settled.
All right. Thank God that's over. By the power invested in me, yada yada, you're officially a Blade.
Congrats, and welcome.
I know you're gonna do great.
Now for the job. Let's get down to brass tacks. Nelson's team has gone missing. Last contact we had, they were installing a data probe out in eastern Primordia. Then, nothing.
Nelson. Pathfinders, right?
Are we talking indigents here or what?
Your guess is as good as mine, but they did have a Skell with them. You'd think they could hold their own, or at least run away.
All right, we're on it. We'll head to their last known location and go from there.
Report whatever you find ASAP.
Of course. Let's move out.
Roger that.
Alright, so that's our next story mission. Go and find Nelson's missing team. Sounds pretty important. With that though, we're now on Chapter 3, Builders of a Legacy. Now that we're in Chapter 3, we actually have access to a couple of subquests. This is just telling us about the different Blade services. We already sort of learned about those. This is telling us about fast travel, pretty self-explanatory. And this is just Lynn reminding us about the arms manufacturers and like stuff like that. So pretty basic info right there. That being said, we'll talk more about that stuff later on, I'm sure. Except for fast travel, because that's pretty basic. Like, if you've planted a probe somewhere or it's a place you've already been to, like for instance New LA, you can tap that area on the touchscreen and fast travel back there. Like I said though, now that we're in Chapter 3, we have access to a couple of different subquests. Like, we don't need to go and do like the main story quests right now, so we're going to take care of a couple of these side quests, first by talking to Kirsty over here. It's Matt, right? That's the name. Oh good, I've been looking for you. The name's Kirsty, with a K. I'm the operation manager for FrontierNav. Nagi requested that I brief you on the whole FrontierNav deal. Sound good? Sure, let's listen to what she has to say. Excellent, I like your curiosity. Always remember that FrontierNav connects us to the land. And like the rest of Mira, it takes dedication and curiosity to really understand. So then, first lesson, there are several different types of data probes that can be installed at FrontierNav probe placement sites. It's vital that you keep the desired application in mind, because each type of probe yields different effects. What's more, placing the exact same type and grade of data probe in neighboring sites will amplify the effects of each probe. Now, I could stand here and make you listen to a long, drawn-out explanation, but I think it's better if you just try out each one for yourself. Alright, so she gave us a couple of probes and a new normal mission, the Probe Professional. We're gonna accept this mission and set it as our navigational target. Remember, the data probe you installed out on the East Gate Plain? Yeah, we did that just yesterday, actually. Well, at the time of recording. Good, I can see why you're on Nagi's shortlist. So, if you ever need to verify its exact location, just access the segment map with your comms device. I'll point out a pair of placement sites in the plains past the west gate that you can chain together on the FrontierNav grid. Head there and install a data probe at each site, okay? But I don't want just any probes installed there. you'll need to change them to be the same type. That's how you'll get the chain amplification effects. You can change a data probe's type using your comm device. Just touch the corresponding site on the segment map. If you select change probe, you can take your pick from all the unused data probes you've got. You do have unused probes, right? Here, take a few mining probes just in case. They're on me, but don't go spreading tales of my generosity. Your assignment is to travel to 2 specified sites and install data probes there. Then make sure all 3 of your installed probes are set as mining probes. You'll figure it out. It's all much clearer in action. Alright, so now we have our assignment, guys. Let's get going. She said there are 2 sites that we need to install probes on, but 3 probes that we need to change. That's because the first probe that we installed in the last episode is actually like the first probe that they want us to change over to the new probe type. Anyways, there's another character named Sadie. She does have a quest for us right now, but we're gonna hold off on picking that up. Now, you can, like, essentially get as many quests active as you want to, and the game does have, like, a nice little menu to scroll through all the quests that you've sort of got activated and going on, and then you can sort of, like, choose which ones you want to display on your minimap, and go from there if you want to. But since we will be coming back to New LA a lot, I figured we'll just, like, pick that one back up, you know, next time we're on our way out or something like that, because really, there's no point in getting it now, and there's no point in, like, not getting it later on, if that makes any sense. Some people I know will like to stack as many quests as they can right at the start, and that's totally fine, but that's just not really how I want to do it. Before we go to these probe sites, though, let's stop off at this time manipulation building, because I kind of want to change it to daytime, since I've noticed that during the morning, during the lighter hours, the planet's a lot easier to explore, and there's like less of a threat of higher level enemies like sneaking up on you. And we're going to be going to a couple of different areas on the map that will have some high level enemies, so it's pretty dangerous. So we're going to need to do our best to avoid getting into any battles if we can. Anyways, here's our first probe we can change. Again, this is done on the touchscreen, so I really can't show this off, but just like tap this segment on the map that you're in, tap the little change probe icon. That'll happen once you change it to the specific probe type, and as you can see, there is now a check mark on the professional sort of like quest marker there. And now we can make our way to the next probe site. These are going to be like completely new sites that we haven't been to, and once we sort of install the probe and you know, change the type, we'll be able to fast travel there. Anyways, here's Nathan with another quest, and I'm actually going to grab this one right away because I just don't want to forget about it. Please, Monica, you've got to understand, as Blades, our first priority is coming home alive. And as the one responsible for this team, I have to take the path with the least amount of risk. So you want to give up his life to save ours? Pathetic. Look, if you don't want to go, that's fine. I'll find Connor alone. Monica, that's crazy. Will you please listen to me for a second? Oh boy. Huh? What is it? If you're out here, I'm guessing it's because you're a Blade. In that case, let me ask you something. Should an entire team risk their lives to rescue one single member? Or should the team run back to New LA like a pair of sniveling cowards and wait for reinforcements? To be honest, I mean, given the state of humanity, I would say you probably owe it to him to go and rescue him, so I'm gonna choose, rescue. See, you've got guts. What if our friend dies while we're sitting on our asses back in New LA? What then? And if the 2 of us go missing as well, how does that help Connor? This is difficult to ask, but would you head north to Sickle Rock Rise and see if you can find the interceptor named Connor? He's part of our team. We got separated on a survey job, and he hasn't come back. Well, that sounds awful, and now it's up to us to go and find Connor. So we're going to accept this mission, but we're not going to set this as like our main navigational target. Thank you. I know it should be me going instead, but we got beaten to a pulp when our survey mission turned into an impromptu copper Sinicula hunt. Honestly, we're both at a loss here, as you can probably tell. I'm afraid if we go, we'll just invite more trouble. I'm sorry you had to see any of this, but know that I really appreciate the help. We both do. As soon as we know Connor's location, we'll do our best to rescue him. Please help us find our friend. Alright, no problem, guys. That does sound pretty important, but, yes, it can wait until we finish this other quest. So we're going to continue with the quest that we're working on. Then maybe we'll go and, find Connor, save him, and then go and help Sadie with her quest. Because all these quests will, get us more experience, more money, different items. So it is worth doing, especially since we're going to need a lot of money later on, especially when, we get our Skells. So it's nice to do these easier quests early on. That way we can start, building towards that ever-looming goal of getting our own Skell. Anyways, though, here is the second probe site. There are some enemies over there, but I think they're far enough away that they really shouldn't bother us. So we're just going to activate this site, plant the probe, and now just very quickly give me a second to use the touchscreen to change the probe type. And after we're done with that, we'll move on to the third location. There we go. Alright, done and done. One more location to go. Now you'll notice that different enemies have different colored text above them stating their level, as well as various different icons. So as far as I know, the color of the text gives you a quick indication how tough that enemy generally is. So for instance, blue text is on the easy side, purple text is a little bit harder, and I think yellow and red text are harder still. Then you have the icons. A lot of enemies won't have icons, and these are essentially passive enemies, so they won't attack you unless you attack them first. Other enemies will have eyeballs or little electrical symbols, and those ones will attack you if they see you, hear you, or if you tag them on Facebook. So you really need to be careful about those ones specifically. Enemies can also have weird purple clouds above them, and I believe this makes them unique enemies, so they're a lot harder, but as a result, they drop better items. Then you have world bosses, which will have a crown next to their little name thing when you target them. So all these different things you really want to take into consideration before getting into a fight. And as a result, we probably won't get into too many fights during these early episodes, just because we are very, very low level, and now we're sort of in the area where these monsters are just a lot higher level than us. So I should be able to sneak up here and just plant this probe without any of those guys in the background noticing me. That level 9 guy specifically with the eyeball icon is a little bit scary, so as long as he stays back there, we should be fine. Probe type has been changed, and now we are done with the first section of this professional mission quest. So, instead of traveling all the way back to New LA, what do you say we just use our fast travel mechanic and warp back there? So yeah, that saves you a ton of time. Did not have to walk at all. And now, well, we can just go and visit Kirsty again, tell her we did all 3 of her probes, and she'll give us another mission. That way we can sort of complete this entire thing. The probes are installed and set up as mining probes. Perfect! You work fast. I'm sure that's part of what Nagi sees in you. Alright, so let's downplay that, I guess. Why not? No reason to be cocky. That humility will serve you well. Never lose sight of it. That said, a little confidence doesn't hurt either. Try setting your comms device display to FrontierNav mode. You should see 3 sites circled in red and connected by line links, or link lines, my bad. There's a 3-site link combo. It boosts the effects of each of those data probes by 30%. If you get that link combo up to 5 neighboring sites with the same data probe type set, the effects will be amplified by 50%. And an 8 probe link combo will net you an extra 80%. You see where this is going? The more data probes of the same type you install in the neighboring placement sites, the more efficient FrontierNav and your related assignments will be. So, think you got the hang of all this chaining data probes jazz? I think I got it. Swift pupils make teaching a pleasure. Well then, I'd say that concludes your first assignment. You can have this research probe by way of reward. Don't say I never gave you anything. I'll teach you about that one next, okay? Sounds good. We'll start the same way. I'll point you to a new FrontierNav probe site, and you'll go install a probe. Then, you'll use your comm device to change its type to a research probe. Then on top of that, I want you to go find unexplored territory known as the Rock Cavern. Good luck! Alright, so yes, this mission is not over just yet. Now we have 2 new assignments that we need to do. Since we did just place like 2 more probes though, we can actually use the second one that we placed to fast travel pretty close to where we need to go. At least it'll cut down on a little bit of travel time, so let's just head right over there now, and let's get going to this next probe site. So there's basically 1 probe we need to plant, and then we need to go and explore some cave that's apparently unexplored territory, but already has a name. And wow, we're only like rank 5, level 6. That's pretty low, honestly, so I would like to fight some enemies to bring that up, but yeah, all these guys are like way higher level than us right now, so I'm certainly not going to get into a fight with something that I know I probably won't win. We do get like experience for doing these side quests though, and picking up these little like blue orbs on the ground, so it's not all that bad. Plus you do get experience for exploring new sections of Mira as well. And it's not like we're not doing these sub-quests for a reason. Like, obviously, the benefits from completing the quests themselves are pretty nice, but there is a story quest coming up that does require us to explore a certain percentage of this section of Mira. So doing this now is just going to allow us to take on that story quest sooner, rather than, like, getting to that quest and then not being able to start it because we haven't explored enough of this planet yet. So this is a good way to sort of learn our way around the planet and speed up the accessibility to various different story quests. Now, one thing I love about this game is just how open it actually is. Like, it truly is an open world. If you can see something, you can go there. The next cool thing about it is that if you can imagine a way to get somewhere, you can probably like trick out the game to allow you to get there. Like, you can jump really high and really far, and with the way this sort of like collision detection works on ledges and stuff like that in the game, you can manipulate it to sort of get to some really, really high and cool places in ways that maybe the game didn't really intend you to get there, and that's what I like about it so much. Anyways, though, here's our next probe site. It's surrounded by a lot of very large, very scary looking indigens, but thankfully none of them seem to be very aggro, so let's just sneak up to this probe site and plant this as quickly as we can. That way we are at less of a risk of getting attacked, but I think we should be fine. Let's just switch this to a research probe type, and there we go, we are done. So now all we gotta do is find that cave, go inside, look around, and then we can head back to New LA. Thankfully, I know exactly where this cave is from playing the Japanese version, so it really shouldn't take us too long to get there. And I kind of want to do that quickly because it is like evening time already. I know, it seems really strange because the first thing I did was like change the time to morning, and now it's already getting to the point where it's going to get dark again in the game. That's because 1 second is pretty much 1 minute on the planet Mira. So even though, you know, we did change it back to morning, we did do a lot of stuff, which I guess wasted a ton of time, and now it's already 18:27, which is military time for, I think, like 6:30 or something like that. I've never been really good at, like, deciphering military time in, like, normal clock standards, but I'm pretty sure it's, like, either 5 or 6 o'clock, so yeah, whatever. Not a big deal, though. The only difference is that, at nighttime, I think enemies become more aggro, so we will need to be a little bit more careful. But thankfully, the cave that we need to explore is, like, right over here. And then after we go and see it, we can literally just, like, fast travel back to New LA. So we really shouldn't have to deal with too many enemies. Alright, so here's the cave she wanted us to explore. Let's go inside. And there we go. We did all that we needed to do. I'll go inside just to like show you guys what's in here, but yeah, it's a lot of aggro high level enemies, so not exactly the safest place to be. I'm not going to bother like going to explore that entire thing right now. I will come back later on, maybe when we're higher level, to go in there and check some stuff out. For now though, what do you say we travel back to New LA? That way we can sort of finish up the rest of this quest. Right, so now that we're back here, let's go and visit Chrissy and tell her that we installed the probes went to that cave and all that jazz, and now we'll actually complete the professional quest that we've been taking on this entire video. Welcome back, Matt. The rock cavern looks like a pretty mystical place. Folks here in town were all blown away by it. Heh, you seem curious how they could have seen it without leaving New LA. Well, by accessing the research probe you installed, they can view the data it's amassed. For the civilians living here, that's the only way of learning about the outside world. The probes you're installing aren't just a way to track down parts of the white whale's lifehold. Sure, they serve as a source of hope for the future, but they're also helping people today. I hope that underscores just how important your work is. Makes sense? Sure does, I guess. I like the fire in your eyes. Oh, and you'll also receive sightseeing profits if a lot of people access your research probes. New blades need all sorts of equipment, and a little extra income never hurts. Discovering unexplored territories like the rock cavern will get lots of people to access your research probes, so keep an eye out for them. What else am I forgetting? Ah! As you install more probes, Moranium mining should also pick up steam. You may eventually reach the limit of how much Moranium you can hold. In that case, setting special data probes known as storage probes can help. They'll raise the limit of how much Moranium you can store. Let me give you one now as thanks for showing me that unexplored territory I wouldn't have otherwise seen. Alright, and with that, we've completed that normal mission, got ourselves a storage probe, among some other stuff. Just remember that like any data probes, simply carrying around that storage probe won't do you any good. You'll need to put it into actual use, so access your comm device at a FrontierNav probe site to change the installed probe to a storage probe. Phew, that should cover the basics. When more FrontierNav assignments come across my desk, I'll be sure to send them your way. Each one spreads our roots into Mira that much farther. Alright, so there we go, we are finally done with that mission. Yeah, it took a long time, but we got a lot from it, so it was well worth the time. Plus, we got to explore Mira, and that's always fun. Anyways, though, now that that is done, I think that's a good place to end off this video. So if you guys enjoyed this part, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. But once again, guys, my name is Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.